Broken Soul. What do you think this song can be about? It is about a broken soul. So, to answer that question, you really have to ask yourself first, what is that could break your own soul, your own heart, your own spirit? I was lucky enough to find the answer for myself. And the answer in my case was different than an answer that will be for you. Each suffering is unique, each happiness is unique. We can recognize the outside appearance of happiness. When people smile, they are happy. When people cry, they are sad. That's universal. But what makes one person experience it one way or the other way is so unique to all of us. And it is something that is going to take an artificial intelligence a long time to decipher. Nevertheless, experience is everything. The song Broken Soul was written while I was living in South Korea. I would say it was written about 2003 or 2004, something like that. I first moved to South Korea in 2002 when I was about 21 years old, or 27, I guess. Um, and I moved in with a good friend of mine, Nick, who is now in Calgary, Alberta. We were roommates for a while, and quite a few stories came out of that apartment, including one other song that I'm going to release later, that is dedicated to his now wife, who is also a good friend of mine. But this song is about something completely different. The inspiration for the song itself came after a brief visit by a female friend of mine to our apartment in South Korea. This friend of mine was actually staying in Japan at the time, and she wanted to visit Korea. So she came to Korea to stay with me and to, look around. So while she was staying with Nick and myself, she inspired me to write this song. I think the inspiration itself came from that kind of lustful desire that could not be fulfilled. Not every person you meet is going to end up being your partner. Some of them are just friends, some of them are just travelers. But in my case, that line got blurred. I wanted our friendship to go to another level. She was not ready for something like that. You know, a story as old as mankind or humankind. I remember people always say, when you want them, they don't want you. When they want you, you don't want them. It's always that chase. We still have to evolve in order to truly appreciate what love is. And at that time, I was a young man. I was very, very taken by this female friend of mine, who was just a friend, but nevertheless, I was very attracted to her. And I think that the expression came, the broken soul itself came from a completely different, title, which was basically closed door. The sound of the closed door. It's the opportunity that's slipping away from you. you truly want to be with this person, but this person can't or doesn't want to be with you. There could be many reasons, and you hear that door just being slammed into your face, and it's like, this is it. I'm never gonna get in there. uh, and that's fine. I mean, because a rejection is a God's protection and redirection. Because a lot of times what we want is not good for us. Both my friend is now happily married and enjoying her life, and I'm happily divorced and also enjoying my life. But it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be something different. However, I always looked at these experiences as very, you know, simple way of doing things. I'm a man, you are a woman, let's do it. Or in that song by Avril Lavigne, a skater boy, can you get any more obvious than this? But like I said earlier, it's not always like that. Some things are meant to be a lesson. Some things are meant to teach us things. And not everything should be just an experience. I mean, everything is an experience, but everything teaches you things. So the experience itself just put me into this kind of state of mind in which I started realizing what my emotions were telling me, what this rejection was making me feel and experience. And with that rejection, I went into a completely different memory, and the memory itself is real and fake at the same time, because a lot of times you ask yourself whether something that you've experienced truly happened to you or to somebody else. And if it happened to somebody else, can this experience be yours? And I do think that we share so much more than we actually don't. So the experience or the memory that came back to me was the memory of the war in former Yugoslavia. And it was a very difficult experience because it was about imprisonment. It was about people being kept in these camps, in these places where they were tortured, later executed, and a lot of them did not survive this ordeal. I was again very moved by this whole experience because this happened to me, to my neighbors, to my friends, to my family. We turned against each other, and people that used to be friends became enemies. And it's such a thin line. We endured such horrific ordeal from each other, from our friends, from people that we thought would never turn against us. And that completely broke our spirits, broke our ideals, broke our humanity, broke our souls. Because that betrayal was actually what completely shattered me and my own experience of life. I have never been the same, and I never will be the same. It is very difficult to explain that, and I believe that through this song I wanted to speak of these things, because in the end we are all sharing the same experience in different bodies, and what one experiences we all experience, and it is very important to understand that our experiences are collectively important. They are not just individual experiences, because a pain in my body is a pain in your body, and the same goes for happiness. I've spent years studying psychology, humanity. I went to university, I've written books, I have read books, I've interviewed people, uh, just to understand how we could turn evil, how we can become this way. And that's what this song is about. It is about genocide, it is about murder, it is about torture, rape. Because a soul does not break so easily. It takes a lot. And it does not break by breaking your body. It actually happens after breaking your spirit. And this is something that I witnessed in former Yugoslavia, because that was exactly what caused me to lose not just hope but any sort of meaning in life, because I realized that what is today doesn't have to be tomorrow, just because we decide to play for the devil rather than for the God or for the light. It's such a thin line. I spoke earlier that truly at the beginning of a war, of a conflict, there is only one decision that you have to make. When you're given that gun, you can point that gun at somebody else or you can point it at yourself. The moment you point it at somebody else is the moment you make a decision that somebody else's life is less important than yours. It's a very difficult decision. It's a very difficult decision. But it is the only true answer to a call to war, to arms. So I think the song really speaks also about looking into your own soul and making very difficult decisions for yourself, because one day these decisions will not be yours. As I say in the second verse, do you know the nights without shadows? And do you know men without the honor? So when you find yourself in this place where you are imprisoned, in this dark cell in which your humanity does not exist, you're at the mercy of people who are keeping you into these camps, into these prisons, then everything stops to exist. All the rules that we think are the rules, or the morality norms, the 10 commandments that we cherish in Christianity or in Islam, they just don't exist. These men have no honor. They lose them. The same men that were in charge of these camps survived the war. They are now eminent citizens of our society. They have positions within the government, within the police. A local DJ was a convicted war criminal. Some of them are just parents, regular taxi drivers. But at some point, they were able to turn off their humanity and become monsters. We all have a choice, whether we want to be a monster or we want to be the light. And every single day we make that choice. The reason why I decided to make a music video as that is I'm trying to portray that in order for the new you to be born, the old you has to die. Our systems of education, our culture, our society have created a button within us that when pressed, we become monsters. Whether you're a Canadian, a Newfoundlander, or a Bosnian, or a South Korean, and I've lived all over the world, I've seen it everywhere. There are certain topics that, when pressed, you become militant. You want to fight for your island, you want to fight for your country, you want to fight for your people. South Koreans do it, Newfoundlanders do it, Bosnians do it, Nigerians do it. So it speaks to me about this emotional conditioning which has been at play in our society for forever, and everything is a part of it. Media definitely plays one of the most important roles in it, through music, through movies, through all the things that you see or you're bombarded with through now TikTok, Facebook, and whatnot. And we basically call these idols. These are false idols. These are false prophets telling us that this is what you should be doing. It's worth dying for. Your car is worth dying for. Your house is worth dying for. Your family is worth dying for. The reality is none of this is yours, and everything belongs to you, and you are everybody's, and we are all just one. So we need a fundamental change within our way of thinking, within our way of processing all this information in order to get out of this matrix, which basically teaches us fear, teaches us that competition is the only way forward, that in order for me to succeed, I need to walk all over everyone else. If I want to become a best musician, I need to fight against everyone. If I want to be the best seller, if I want to be the best. And that's not true. We know that for sure, because the ideals and the philosophy that we are following is just 2,000 years old. It started with basically the death of Jesus Christ and then whatnot. So it is very important to understand that we do have a choice, and that choice sometimes can be you or them. If your choice is them, there will be no end to the war. So the only person you have to fight against is yourself. That is the concept of jihad, or the holy war in Islam. It's the fight with yourself. You have to become Buddha. You have to become Jesus. If we all do that, then there will be no more wars. There is plenty of everything for everyone. We can share, we can all be happy. It is possible. Of course, there is accountability and there is responsibility, and there are things we have to do. I mean, it's not easy. But again, the only person you have to fight and win against is yourself. So this is a little bit about Broken Soul. The Broken Soul is a beautiful little song that I've been performing for years now. The story behind it is about a man who is awaiting for his execution in his prison cell in complete darkness with no windows. And that's it. What can he say? His days are numbered, his hours are numbered, and he has to die for our sins over and over and over and over and over again. The choice is ours. Don't believe what they say. I love you, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you enjoy Broken Soul. Uh, and please make sure you ask things or you like the video. Thank you. Cheers.